Ever felt that? Like an inexplicable drain on your energy, or maybe a sudden shift in your mood, totally out of the blue with no clear cause.
Mm-hmm. Like something unseen just nudges you off balance.
Exactly. It's like these invisible currents. How do we even begin to navigate them? These subtle influences that can really impact our well-being, our equilibrium.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah, today we're embarking on a really deep dive into psychic self-defense. And it's not just some abstract concept. It's more like a discipline, really, for safeguarding our energetic and spiritual balance.
And we're drawing heavily from a truly pivotal figure here.
Right. Dion Fortune. Her seminal work, Psychic Self-Defense, is our cornerstone. It came from her own pretty harrowing experiences, apparently, and became this foundational guide packed with practical techniques.
Absolutely. It's incredibly practical.
And our mission today, just to be clear, this isn't about stirring up fear. It's about empowerment. We want to explore Fortune's framework, really understand the different types of subtle energetic disturbances, learn how to spot the signs, the red flags.
And most importantly,
equip you, our listeners, with actual step-by-step methods you can use to fortify your energetic boundaries.
That's a perfect way to frame it. In many traditions, and really for anyone attuned to the subtler side of things, human experience goes way beyond just the physical world we see and touch.
Right. There's more to it.
Definitely. We exist within this complex web of subtle energies, unseen forces. So psychic self-defense, it isn't just about reacting when you feel something weird.
It's proactive.
Exactly. What Fortune really emphasizes is its proactive nature. It's a continuous practice, something you do to empower yourself to confidently navigate these energies, build strong boundaries, and just maintain that spiritual equilibrium. It's really about building resilience from the ground up.
And Fortune herself, she was quite unique, wasn't she? Blending different fields.
Oh, absolutely fascinating. That's what makes her work so potent. Dion Fortune managed to blend deep occult knowledge, things from the Western mystery tradition, with really groundbreaking insights from psychology at the time. Think pioneers like Jung and Freud.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
It is. And this interdisciplinary approach makes her work incredibly practical. She understood that effective psychic self-defense wasn't just about, magic spells in isolation. It's deeply intertwined with understanding and, frankly, mastering your own mental and emotional states.
So your inner world is your first defense.
Your first and arguably most important line of defense, yes. Your own psyche matters hugely.
Before we go on, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. This podcast is known as The Deep Seek Diaries, and you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on. Please go through our terms and conditions as soon as you can. Now sit back and enjoy the podcast. Okay, let's unpack this then. When we talk about psychic attacks, for a lot of people, that probably conjures images straight out of a fantasy novel, maybe a horror movie.
Sure, it does sound dramatic.
Yeah, but Fortune's work suggests something, far more nuanced, doesn't it? And maybe more insidious sometimes, just because it is so subtle. So from her perspective, what exactly are we talking about here?
That's a crucial starting point. Fortune clarifies that these assaults, as she terms them, primarily target what she calls the astral body.
Okay, the astral body, not the physical body then.
Right, not the physical form you see in the mirror. Think of it more like a subtle energy layer that surrounds and interpenetrates your physical body, your energetic blueprint maybe, or your emotional body.
Got it, like an energy field.
Exactly. And these attacks are manifestations of what she calls negative energies that seek to disrupt that field or to drain your vital life force, your energy. So less like a punch.
And more like a leak.
Yeah.
Or a disruption.
Yeah, more like an energetic siphon or something throwing your internal system out of whack. But here's what's really revolutionary in Fortune's insight, her crucial distinction. Not all psychic interference comes from deliberate malice.
Okay. That's big.
It is. She states energetic disturbances can be initiated consciously or unconsciously by another person.
That really changes things, doesn't it? Because it means it's not always some, villain intentionally sending bad vibes your way.
Precisely. It shifts the focus.
Yeah, away from just looking for an external enemy and more towards understanding, the dynamics of energy exchange between people.
Exactly right. And that understanding is fundamental because it moves us away from a purely fear-driven adversarial mindset. It pushes us towards something more like proactive, personal, energetic hygiene.
So how does that unconscious stuff happen then?
Well, An unintended emanation, as Fortune might put it, can arise just from someone else's really intense emotional state, like chronic anger, deep sadness, even obsessive thoughts. They might not mean to affect you, but that energy radiates outwards.
Okay, so just being around someone intensely negative could have an effect.
It can. Unresolved conflicts between people can create these dense, disruptive energetic fields. Even places, environments with a lot of emotional residue can contribute. And Fortune gets into something called psychic vampirism, which is really intriguing.
Vampirism, like energy vampires.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But often unintentional. She describes it as a person who's severely depleted energetically, almost like an energy sponge, becoming a kind of psychic vacuum.
So they just pull energy.
They inadvertently draw energy from anyone they encounter. Not out of malice, usually, but because they're desperately trying to replenish their own diminished reserves.
Yeah.
It can even be, as she puts it, contagious.
Contagious? How so?
Well, the person who gets drained might then, in turn, become depleted and unconsciously start draining others. It creates this sort of chain reaction.
Wow. Okay, that's a much more complex picture. And this Dion Fortune, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Who exactly was she? And why is her work still so relevant, nearly a century after she first published? Her name alone sounds quite mystical.
She was a truly remarkable figure,
Yeah.
Born Violet Mary Firth back in 1890, she later took the name Dion Fortune that was actually her magical motto, Deo non fortuna, meaning by God, not by luck.
Ah, okay.
She became a prominent British occultist, a ceremonial magician, and a really prolific writer. And her most famous work, Psychic Self-Defense, published in 1930. Well, it wasn't just academic theory for her.
It came from experience, you mentioned?
Directly.
Yeah.
It was born right out of her own harrowing personal experience of what she identified as a powerful psychic attack. That first-hand encounter, it just grounds the whole text in real-world application. It gives it this authority, this practical dimension that, frankly, few other works have. It wasn't just theory. It was survival for her.
That makes it so much more compelling, doesn't it? Not just abstract ideas. And this integration of psychology you mentioned earlier, how did that make her approach so unique for her time? It seems quite ahead of the curve.
Oh, absolutely. Her unique synthesis of knowledge is what makes her work so enduring and, well, groundbreaking. She was deeply rooted in the Western mystery tradition. She was involved with groups like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, studied the Kabbalah intensely.
Kabbalah, that's the Tree of Life system.
Exactly. An ancient mystical system uses that symbolic map, the Tree of Life, to understand the universe, human consciousness, provides a really profound framework for navigating these unseen realms. But what really sets Fortune apart is how she integrated contemporary psychological perspectives. She drew deeply from Jung and Freud.
So occultism and psychology side by side.
Yes. And this blend meant that, really for the first time, protection wasn't just about wards and rituals in isolation. It was about knowing yourself. She showed how your deepest psychological wounds weren't just personal issues. They could be energetic vulnerabilities, weak spots.
Ah, so attackers, conscious or unconscious, could exploit those.
Precisely. So effective psychic self-defense, in her view, absolutely necessitates a robust understanding of human psychology. Your internal mental state, your emotional landscape, they aren't just passively receiving attacks. They are active, crucial components of your defense system. A strong, well-integrated psyche acts like an inherent shield.
Like building inner resilience is just as important as any external technique.
Maybe even more so. It's about building that inner strength as the primary shield.
So what does this all mean practically? Fortune's book, it's described as a detailed instruction manual, right? Full of techniques. But it sounds like it's not just about reacting when you feel something off. It's more proactive than that.
You've absolutely hit the core of her philosophy there. While the title, Psychic Self-Defense, might sort of imply a reactive stance, defending against something.
Yeah, it sounds like putting up a wall after you're attacked.
Right. But the underlying philosophy and all the practical advice within the book consistently point towards a much more proactive approach. She uses phrases like maintaining psychic hygiene and cultivating a balanced and resilient psyche all the time.
Psychic hygiene, like brushing your teeth, but for your energy field.
That's a great analogy. It's a subtle but really significant shift. It underscores this fundamental principle. The best defense is often a strong, healthy, well-maintained energetic system to begin with. It's about building inherent resilience, energetic integrity, rather than just reacting when trouble hits.
So it's about prevention as much as cure.
Exactly. This proactive stance implies a direct causal relationship. If you consistently do daily practices aimed at strengthening your energy field, strengthening your mental state, you directly reduce your vulnerability.
Makes sense. You make yourself less of an easy target.
Precisely. These practices make intrusions less likely in the first place, and if something does get through, its impact is significantly diminished. And that perspective is just inherently more empowering, isn't it? It shifts you from being a potential victim to being the active architect of your own energetic safety.
Taking responsibility for your energy.
Yes, continuous conscious responsibility for your energetic health, just like you would for your physical health. It's ongoing.
Identifying the unseen. Types and signs of psychic attacks.
That's a much more empowering way to think about it, definitely. Okay, so if these subtle assaults are happening mainly on the astral body, as you said, how does Dion Fortune actually classify them? Can you break down the different ways these unseen influences might show up? It sounds like there's more to it than just a general bad vibe.
Oh, definitely. She offers a pretty clear classification. And yeah, they all primarily impact that astral body, your energetic self. She identifies 3 main categories.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's vampirism. This is basically the draining of your vital energy. It leaves you feeling depleted, exhausted, often kind of disoriented or discombobulated, just flat.
It's that psychic vacuum idea again.
Exactly. And remember that contagious aspect she mentioned? A person who's been drained can become that psychic vacuum themselves, inadvertently pulling energy from others to try and get back to baseline. Often this exploits existing energetic holes or vulnerabilities, maybe from past trauma, unresolved emotional stuff, PTSD, things like that.
Okay, so vampirism is one. What's next?
Second is hauntings. This refers more to disturbances caused by, let's say, unwanted energetic presences or entities tied to a specific place.
Like a haunted house, but maybe more subtle?
Could be subtle, could be more overt. It might manifest as just a feeling of unease, a weird chill, feeling like you're being watched. Or it could be more disruptive, strange noises, objects moving, or just an oppressive atmosphere in a room that makes you want to leave immediately.
Got it. And the third type?
The third is black magic. Now, this is the one that fits the more classic idea of a psychic attack. It encompasses deliberate, malicious acts of psychic interference.
So this is conscious and intentional.
Yes. These attacks are consciously initiated by someone else, and they're usually driven by intense negative emotions, jealousy, ill will, revenge, or sometimes just general malice. It's a targeted, intentional assault on someone's energy field.
That's quite a range. But you emphasized earlier that many of these, especially the vampirism, can be accidental or unconscious. Does that mean our strategy needs to be less about, fighting an enemy and more about managing ourselves and building our own energetic strength?
Absolutely. That distinction between conscious and unconscious is so key in Fortune's analysis. It really highlights that not every negative energetic experience is a targeted attack with malice behind it.
Right. The psychic vacuum example really drives that home.
It does. It shows that sometimes these attacks are less about an external enemy you need to fight and more about just widespread energetic imbalances or passive drains happening within our interconnected energy environment. So the defense strategy can't just be about fighting something external.
It has to be internal, too.
It has to heavily lean into self-healing, establishing really strong energetic boundaries, and just diligently managing your own energy field, building resilience from within rather than just focusing outwards.
Okay, so if these influences are often invisible, how do we even know they're happening? What are the actual red flags we should look out for?
It's easy to dismiss feeling tired or moody, right?
Yeah.
When does it cross the line into something potentially psychic?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Fortune's work gives us a really comprehensive guide to spotting these indicators, even though they can be subtle. She lists several common signs.
Like what? You might experience this pervasive sense of fear and oppression, but without any obvious reason for it. It just hangs around you. Or sudden, inexplicable fatigue, not just tired, but profoundly drained, like your energy has literally been siphoned off.
Okay, extreme fatigue, unexplained fear. What else?
Unexplained mood swings, becoming really emotionally volatile, or just feeling demoralized, like your judgment and self-control are kind of compromised. You might find yourself snapping easily or feeling totally overwhelmed by things that normally wouldn't bother you.
So a persistent feeling of being off, that you can't logically explain.
Precisely. Other signs can include really disturbing nightmares or general sleep disturbances, maybe insomnia, or waking up suddenly with your heart pounding even if you weren't having a nightmare.
Physical symptoms, too.
Sometimes, yes. Unusual physical symptoms that don't have a clear medical cause. Things like getting constant goosebumps for no reason, unexplained changes in body temperature, feeling freezing cold when it's warm, or hot flashes, or just a general feeling of being unwell, a malaise that doctors can't seem to diagnose.
Okay, anything else?
Brief moments of disorientation, like suddenly losing track of time or feeling like you don't quite know where you are for a second. And sometimes unusual things happening in your environment, objects breaking repeatedly, plants suddenly dying, electronics constantly malfunctioning without a logical reason.
Right. And she mentioned astral bells.
Yes, that's a more specific one. Perceiving curious sounds, anything from clear bell notes to faint clicks, which occultists sometimes interpret as announcing the presence of an entity or an energetic shift. Doesn't necessarily mean it's hostile, but it's an indicator of something happening on a subtle level. It's really about noticing patterns of these things that defy conventional explanation.
Wow. This sounds really intense. And honestly, some of those symptoms, fatigue, mood swings, even disorientation could easily be mistaken for, regular psychological issues or even medical problems.
Exactly.
But Fortune had that background in psychology, right? How does she connect these experiences to our mental and emotional health? Why is that link so important in her work?
This is absolutely crucial, and it's what makes her approach so holistic and, frankly, so responsible. Fortune explicitly recognized the significant overlap between psychic phenomena and mental illness, which was pretty progressive for her era.
So she saw the connection clearly.
Very clearly. She detailed how psychological maladaptation, repressed emotions, things she called neurotic and hysterical troubles, basically, unresolved emotional issues or ingrained psychological patterns, or even just having a naturally tempestuous and unduly emotional temperament could create these energetic holes.
Weak spots in the aura.
Exactly. Weak spots or cracks in your energetic field that make you much more susceptible to outside psychic influence. She observed that what might look like a psychic attack could actually manifest with symptoms we commonly associate with mental breakdown, depression, or even physical illness, especially if someone already had these psychological vulnerabilities.
So the lines can be really blurry.
Very blurry. And this significant overlap highlights the absolute critical need for a holistic diagnostic approach. It's interesting, even today, if you look at online forums like on Reddit where people discuss psychic experiences, there's a consistent, strong message. If you're experiencing things like auditory or visual hallucinations or severe distress, absolutely seek medical and psychological help first.
So rule out the conventional explanations before jumping to psychic ones. That's the first step, always.
Absolutely. This underscores Fortune's very pragmatic and responsible stance. The crucial first step in any psychic self-defense investigation must be to rule out conventional medical or psychological diagnoses. If you don't do that,
You could misdiagnose, treat the wrong thing.
exactly. You could end up using energetic techniques that are totally ineffective for the real issue and potentially even make an underlying physical or mental health condition worse by delaying proper treatment. This pragmatic approach, integrating psychology with occult knowledge, is a real hallmark of Fortune's teachings. It's not about denial or spiritual bypassing. It's about being thorough, responsible, and making sure you address the actual root cause.
I hope you are enjoying the topic so far. Please subscribe to the Deep Seek Diaries and like this video. Don't forget you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on. Okay, so with all these possibilities swirling around, is it an external attack? Is it my own internal psychological stuff? Is it just the environment? How do we actually figure it out? If I'm feeling drained and weird, how do I differentiate between a genuine external psychic assault and just, having a really rough week or struggling with my own emotions?
This is where Fortune's rigorous process of differential diagnosis, as she puts it, really comes into play. It's like being a detective for your own experience. She emphasizes how important it is to carefully distinguish between a genuine, objective psychic attack coming from outside and a subjective psychic disturbance that might be stemming from your own internal psychological state, unresolved emotional baggage, or even just an overactive imagination running wild with fear.
So how do you make that distinction?
She suggests looking for clear motives.
Mhm.
Is there someone who has a reason like revenge, greed, lust to potentially target you? If you can't find any discernible motive, or if the circumstances just don't logically point to an external aggressor, she cautions that it might mean the person is romancing the idea.
Romancing, like getting carried away with the drama of it.
Kind of, yeah. Misinterpreting their own internal psychological processes, their own fears or anxieties, as if they were external psychic assaults. It requires a fair bit of self-honesty to make that call.
That's a really practical, almost detective-like approach to the unseen, isn't it? Keeps you grounded.
It does. It keeps you from spiraling into paranoia or, blaming others when the issue might actually be internal. And it leads directly to her profound ethical caution, which is just a cornerstone of doing this kind of work responsibly.
Ethics are key here.
Absolutely. Fortune strongly advises against automatically assuming malice behind every perceived energetic wobble. She points out, again, that many attacks aren't deliberate. They're accidental emanations from people who are just unconsciously interacting with the unseen world. Maybe they're stressed, maybe they're projecting their own stuff.
So don't immediately jump to conclusions or retaliate.
Exactly. And this is a crucial principle she lays out, a quote that's really worth remembering. We should never respond to attack by attack, thus bringing ourselves down to the moral level of our attackers, but rely upon more humane methods, which are, in reality, equally effectual and far less dangerous to handle.
Wow. So retaliation is not the way.
Not according to Fortune. This insistence on discernment, on avoiding immediate retaliation, is a fundamental ethical safeguard in her system. It stops practitioners from just projecting their own internal fears or psychological issues onto external enemies, which can lead down a path of self-delusion, ego inflation, and just perpetuating negative energy cycles.
It's about wisdom, not just power.
Precisely. It highlights that true psychic mastery isn't just about developing energetic power. It also involves profound wisdom and ethical responsibility. It fosters a more responsible, compassionate, and ultimately a more effective way of engaging with these unseen realms. It's about being a conscious actor, not just a knee-jerk reactor.
Building your inner fortress. Core principles of defense.
This truly sounds like it goes way beyond just external tools or quick fixes. It really is about strengthening ourselves from the inside out, isn't it? Building that inner fortress. What's the absolute core, the fundamental internal building block for this kind of defense?
You're absolutely right. At the very heart, the absolute core of Fortune's psychic self-defense system is cultivating a strong, disciplined mind and an unwavering willpower.
Willpower.
Yes. She posits that the human will is not just a thought, it's a real and tangible force, an actual energetic tool that can be developed, trained, and focused to make changes in your environment and produce what she calls supernormal effects.
Oh, mental strength is paramount.
Paramount. It's the fundamental internal defense mechanism for creating those psychic shields we talked about, for repelling negative energies. Across all her work, she consistently emphasizes the importance of strong mind, an unwavering spirit, positive thinking, and strong willpower. Mental discipline is key.
And it takes practice.
Oh, definitely. She explicitly states that success in dealing with subtle psychic conditions is almost entirely a matter of practice. Practice in concentration, in holding the mind steady on a single idea, free from distraction, free from doubt.
So external tools are secondary.
They're valuable, powerful even, but they're secondary to, or at least significantly empowered by, that internal mental strength. A well-disciplined mind, a cultivated willpower, creates this inherent energetic coherence and resilience within you. That internal strength acts as your primary barrier against psychic intrusion. It makes you less vulnerable to suggestion, manipulation, or energy drains.
It really is like building an energetic immune system.
That's a perfect analogy, resisting and neutralizing subtle threats before they can even properly take hold.
Okay, so beyond just raw mental strength, what role does our spiritual journey play in all this? Is it just about being a generally good person, or is there a specific kind of spiritual cultivation involved that makes us more resilient?
It's more specific than just being generally good, though ethics are crucial, as we discussed. Fortune really guides people on a transformative journey of self-discovery. She emphasizes harnessing your innate psychic abilities, not just for protection, but for overall empowerment.
And how do you do that? What are the tools?
Central to this are spiritual practices like regular meditation and yoga. She presents these as vital tools. Why? Because they help unravel the psychological issues that create those energetic vulnerabilities we keep mentioning. They help you identify and heal those energetic holes.
So meditation helps you find the weak spots.
It helps you find them, understand them, and heal them. And through that process, these practices help foster the development of what she calls an impenetrable neutral aura, an energy field that can withstand suffering and external pressures without being thrown off balance. There's a profound causal link in her system between self-discovery, spiritual strength, and unraveling psychological issues. Her psychology background really informed her understanding that internal vulnerabilities, fears, attachments, unresolved conflicts are often the entry points for psychic interference.
And the Kabbalah you mentioned fits in here too. How does that complex system connect to practical self-defense? It seems quite abstract.
It might seem abstract, but it provides a vital framework. Yes, the Kabbalah, which is core to her teachings, uses that symbolic map, the Tree of Life, to understand the structure of the universe and how it's mirrored within us, within human existence. By engaging with the system, exploring the relationships between ideas, forces, realms, practitioners can expand their consciousness.
How does expanding consciousness help with defense?
By expanding consciousness and connecting with, let's say, higher or divine energies, you deepen your spiritual foundation and your energetic integrity. The Kabbalah provides a structured system for self-reflection, for energetic refinement. It's instrumental in addressing those internal weaknesses and strengthening your spiritual core. So psychic self-defense isn't just a set of techniques you pull out when needed.
It's an ongoing path.
Exactly, an ongoing path of personal and spiritual evolution. By consistently addressing your internal weaknesses, fostering self-awareness, you naturally build a stronger, more resilient energetic field. That inherently reduces your susceptibility. You're building spiritual muscle.
We keep hearing about the astral plane. Can you maybe explain again why that specific realm is so important in Fortune's framework? It really does sound like the primary battleground for all this unseen stuff.
It is indeed. That's the key operational level. Fortune's framework fundamentally states that psychic attacks primarily happen on the astral plane. Think of it as a subtle realm where psychic energies, thought forms, emotions, and even certain types of entities reside. It's a vast, interconnected, energetic dimension existing alongside and interpenetrating our physical reality.
And our thoughts and emotions affect it.
Directly. She meticulously explains how human thoughts and emotions directly influence this plane. They ripple outwards, affecting our personal well-being and also our susceptibility to psychic interference from others or from the environment. Our minds and emotions aren't just contained within our skulls, they actively shape this subtle realm.
And the Kabbalah helps navigate this.
Yes, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life serves as that crucial symbolic map we talked about. It helps understand the intricate relationships between different ideas, forces, and realms within this universal framework, providing a guide for navigating and interacting with these astral dynamics more consciously.
So the astral body is the target, and the astral plane is the environment where it happens.
Precisely. Fortune's assertion that psychic attacks are an assault on the astral body is fundamental. That identifies the specific energetic layer needing protection. The Kabbalah helps understand the structure and how to work with that astral body effectively. And the understanding that your thoughts and emotions directly influence the astral plane creates that undeniable link. Your internal state impacts your external energetic vulnerability.
So a strong astral body is the goal.
A strong, well-maintained astral body, understood and worked with through systems like the Kabbalah, functions as your primary defense on that plane. Conversely, a weakened or imbalanced astral body, maybe from unmanaged thoughts, runaway emotions, becomes like an open door, a porous conduit for negative influences.
So energetic hygiene at the astral level is critical.
Absolutely critical. It's the direct battleground. It's where the energetic rubber meets the road, so to speak. And just quickly, before we dive into the really practical step-by-step methods, Fortune always reminds us that a basic healthy lifestyle is foundational. Good physical vitality directly supports your energetic resilience. A healthy body provides a strong base for your subtle energy fields. It's truly holistic.
Right. Body, mind, spirit, energy, all connected.
The practical toolkit, step-by-step self-defense strategies.
Okay, now for the really actionable steps. This is what I know a lot of our listeners are keen to hear about. What are the daily practices we can actually integrate into our lives to build that consistent energetic resilience, that proactive psychic hygiene you mentioned? Let's start with the basics, the habits we can cultivate every single day.
Absolutely. Consistency is key here. Building that resilient energetic field happens through regular practice. These daily habits help you naturally repel negative influences, making you less of a target and more like an energetic fortress.
So first up,
1. Aura strengthening. Visualizing your energetic shield. First, understanding the aura. It's often described as an electromagnetic shield surrounding your physical body. this luminous energy field. Keeping this field stored, meaning strong, vibrant, intact, is crucial for repelling psychic stuff.
And visualization is the main tool.
It's a core technique for Fortune. She understood that focused thought and intention can directly shape subtle energy. Now, adepts might use really complex visualizations tied to the Kabbalah, but the basic principle is accessible to absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
Your aura isn't static, it's dynamic, and you need to consciously cultivate it. Doing this consistently builds a robust, energetic infrastructure that inherently resists intrusion.
Okay, so walk us through basic exercise for that. How do we visualize this shield?
All right, let's do a step-by-step.
Aura shield visualization. Preparation. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit or stand comfortably, gently close your eyes, centering breath. Take several deep, slow breaths. Really focus on the sensation of the breath coming in and going out. Just let everything else fall away. Become present, calm, grounded. Core light activation. Now visualize a point of brilliant, pure white light forming right in the center of your chest, around your heart area. Feel its warmth, its radiance starting to emanate from that point, expanding gently inside you. Expansion of light. Slowly, with each breath in, imagine this pure white light expanding outwards from your core. With each breath out, visualize it solidifying, getting more intense, growing bigger. Let it encompass your entire physical body, extending maybe several inches or even a foot or two beyond your skin in all directions, creating a bubble around you. Forming the shield. Consciously shape this expanding light into a smooth, shimmering, impenetrable sphere or egg shape all around you. Really visualize its surface as resilient, like a subtle force field, deflecting any unwanted or negative energies that might try to approach or get in. See it as a strong protective barrier. Intention and affirmation. Mentally state your intention for this shield. Clearly affirm that it allows only positive, beneficial, harmonious energies to enter while deflecting, dissolving, or transmuting anything negative, harmful, or intrusive. You could use an affirmation like, I am surrounded by divine light. Only good may enter, and only good may leave. I am protected. Say with conviction, reinforcement. Spend a few minutes just holding this visualization firmly in your mind. Really feel secure, protected within your shield. Experience that sense of energetic sovereignty, of safety, integration. Before you open your eyes, consciously affirm that this protective aura stays with you throughout your day, providing continuous, unwavering defense no matter where you are or what you're doing.
That sounds powerful, but also quite calming. So that's aura strengthening. What's another key daily practice?
2. Grounding and centering. Anchoring your energy. Now, Fortune doesn't give explicit step-by-steps for grounding in the book, but it's absolutely fundamental in Western occultism and pretty much universally recommended for psychic protection.
What does grounding actually do?
It serves a few key purposes. It helps you release excess or negative energy you might have picked up. It allows you to draw in stabilizing energy from the earth and enhances your overall energetic stability and clarity. Essentially, grounding reinforces your energetic sovereignty. It plants your flag firmly in your own energetic space, making it harder for unwanted influences to take root or push you around.
Like an electrical ground wire taking away excess charge?
Exactly like that. It provides a vital channel for releasing psychic debris, preventing negative energy from building up and compromising your field. This directly supports Fortune's whole emphasis on psychic hygiene and maintaining a balanced psyche.
Okay, how do we do that? Give us an exercise.
Sure thing.
Grounding and centering. Preparation. You can sit comfortably in a chair, feet flat on the floor, hands maybe palms up on your thighs, or you can stand tall, feet about hip-width apart. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, just arrive in the present moment. Root visualization. Now imagine a thick, strong cord, maybe like a tree trunk, a sturdy rope, or even a column of light extending downwards from the very base of your spine, your root chakra area. Descending cord. Visualize this cord going down, through the floor, down to the layers of earth beneath you, plunging deep into the molten, vibrant core of the planet. See it anchoring firmly there. Release energy. Now consciously visualize any tension, stress, negative emotions, worries, or any unwanted energies you feel in your body or aura flowing down this cord. See it all draining out of you, going into the earth core to be transmuted, neutralized, turned back into pure, harmless energy. Feel yourself getting lighter, clearer as this stuff releases. Draw earth energy. Next, imagine drawing up revitalizing, nourishing, stabilizing energy from the earth through that same cord. Feel it rising through the soles of your feet, up your legs, filling your torso, radiating throughout your entire being. Feel how stabilizing and strengthening this earth energy is. Feel the calm resilience it brings. Centering. Finally, bring your awareness gently back to your own core, maybe your solar plexus or heart center. Feel yourself perfectly balanced, anchored, and centered within your own energetic space. Daily practice. Try doing this daily. Morning is great to start the day strong. Evening is good to release the day's accumulated stress. As you get used to it, you can practice grounding while standing, walking, even in tricky situations, just consciously maintaining that connection to the Earth's core.
Okay, aura shielding and grounding. What's the third pillar of daily practice?
3. Cultivating positive thought and emotional resilience. This one is about fortifying your inner landscape. Fortune really understood, especially with her psychology background, that psychic attacks often exploit our psychological wounds and egoic desires, our fears, unresolved issues, attachments, cravings.
So our own inner stuff makes us vulnerable.
It can, yes. Repressed or unmanaged emotions can create those energetic holes we talked about. They can cause our life force energy to get blocked or to overflow radically, leading to instability and making us highly susceptible to external influences. This really reinforces the idea that mental discipline and spiritual strength are your primary internal shields. Addressing your inner weaknesses fundamentally builds a stronger, more coherent energy field that's just harder to penetrate.
So how do we actively cultivate that inner fortitude?
It involves conscious effort in a few areas.
Cultivating inner fortitude. Mindful self-observation. First, just get into the habit of regularly observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Just notice them. Start to recognize recurring patterns. Identify what triggers negative emotional states for you. Maybe keep a journal. Journaling is great for this. It aligns really well with Kabbalistic self-reflection too, letting you track your inner landscape over time. Positive affirmations. Consciously work on replacing a negative self-talk or limiting beliefs with empowering positive affirmations. Things like, I am strong, protected, and resilient, or my energy is my own, pure and inviolable, I choose peace. Repeat them consistently, feel them. This helps reprogram your subconscious mind over time, creating stronger, more positive mental pathways. Emotional processing and release. This is huge. Develop healthy ways to cope with stress, anxiety, anger, sadness. Don't just stuff it down. This could include regular meditation. Daily meditation is fantastic for centering the mind, calming emotional turbulence, and creating that inner space for more harmonious energies. Deep breathing exercises. Simple, deep breathing can work wonders to regulate your nervous system, release pent-up emotional pressure, and restore balance pretty quickly. Forgiveness and release. Actively practice forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and consciously release resentment. This isn't about condoning bad behavior. It's about severing the energetic ties that bind you to past hurts. Holding on to resentment creates these internal dams or emotional swamps that just drain your energy. Fortune even framed this as an Aikido movement, yielding to and taking responsibility for what's in your own consciousness rather than fighting it. Professional support. And crucially, if you're dealing with severe or persistent emotional distress or symptoms that genuinely feel like mental health concerns, please seek support from a qualified therapist or counselor. Fortune herself integrated psychology. She knew how vital this connection is for true well-being.
Right, so daily habits build the foundation.
Yeah.
But beyond that, Fortune's system also includes more specific, active rituals, doesn't it? For defense and cleansing when you need something more direct.
It does, yes. Beyond the daily maintenance, she explores magical rituals and protective amulets as more active, focused tools for warding off attacks and clearing negativity.
Okay, let's get into those. What's a key ritual she discusses?
The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, LBRP. This is probably the most foundational ceremonial magic ritual in the whole Western esoteric tradition. Dion Fortune knew it intimately from her time in the Golden Dawn.
LBRP. What's its purpose?
It's got a dual purpose, really. First, it cleanses and purifies a space, banishing unwanted energies. Second, it simultaneously fortifies your personal aura, invoking divine protection. It works by inviting or invoking the divine essence, as she might say, and establishing a powerful protective barrier. It operates directly on the astral plane, creating sacred space, invoking specific energies, and thus powerfully protecting your astral body, which, remember, is the primary target. It's like a comprehensive energetic workout and tune-up.
That sounds complex. Can you give us an overview? We know the full details are involved, but what's the gist of it?
It is intricate, and learning it properly takes time, and practice the resources we link will have full instructions. But here's a summary of the main components to give you a sense of its structure and power.
The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, LBRP. Frequency. Ideally, you'd perform this regularly, maybe daily. Morning to set up your space and aura, evening to cleanse and seal before sleep. Preparation. You stand in the center of your room. You can use a ritual dagger, a wand, or just your right index finger. The key is visualizing the figures you trace in the air, like pentagrams and a cross as blazing, brilliant white light manifested by your focused will, the Kabbalistic cross. It starts with this segment. You essentially draw a cross of light through your body, touching forehead, heart, solar plexus, right shoulder, left shoulder, while vibrating specific Hebrew divine names linked to the Kabbalah's tree of life. This part centers you, invokes divine light, aligns your personal energy with universal forces, establishing a strong spiritual axis within you. The formulation of the pentagrams. Next, you face each of the 4 directions, east, south, west, north. In each direction, you draw a specific type of pentagram, a banishing earth pentagram, in the air, again, visualizing it as brilliant white light. As you finish drawing each one, you thrust your finger or tool into its center and vibrate a specific divine name associated with that direction. This creates a protective, energetic barrier at each quarter, cleansing the space and setting a boundary. You then connect these 4 pentagrams with a continuous circle of light, sealing your sacred space, the evocation of the archangels. After setting the boundaries, you stand with arms outstretched like a cross. You then evoke the 4 archangels associated with the directions: Raphael east, Gabriel west, Michael south, and Oriel north. You call upon them by vibrating their names and visualizing their presence, their attributes, like Michael's flaming sword, Gabriel's chalice, further reinforcing the protective sphere around you and inviting their powerful, benevolent influence. Recapitulation of the Kabbalistic cross. Finally, the ritual concludes by repeating the first section, the Kabbalistic cross. This firmly seals all the energies you've invoked, integrates them into your being, and reinforces the protective sphere you've created, ensuring it's stable and effective.
Wow, okay. That is definitely involved, but sounds incredibly thorough. It's like building a high-security, energetic perimeter.
It is. The power isn't just in the movements, but in the focused intent, the visualization, and the vibration of those ancient divine names. It works directly on the astral plane to protect your subtle body. It's a cornerstone practice for many.
Okay, besides major rituals like the LBRP, what about simpler things like protective symbols or objects? Does Fortune talk about those?
Yes, she does. 2. Protective symbols and amulets. Fortune definitely discusses using protective symbols and amulets as tangible focal points for your protective energy and intention.
How do symbols work in this context?
Well, think about the Kabbalah again. She described its symbols as a kind of algebra to access unknown potencies and guide thought into the unseen. Symbols have power beyond just being pictures. And you see this echoed in contemporary practices too. People using specific crystals like black tourmaline or obsidian, known for absorbing negativity, or certain runes, personal sigils they create, even traditional folk magic items like witch bottles. These items act as physical anchors for concentrated protective energy, like having a constant energetic bodyguard.
So how do you actually use them effectively? It's not just about having a crystal in your pocket, right?
Right, you need to activate it, essentially. Here's a general process.
Empowering protective items selection. First, choose a symbol, maybe a classic pentagram, a cross, a specific protective rune like alges, or a personal sigil you've designed. Or choose a physical object, a crystal like black tourmaline or obsidian, an amulet, a piece of jewelry, something that genuinely resonates with you and feels protective. Trust your intuition here. Cleansing. Before you use it for the first time and then periodically, you need to cleanse it. Physically clean it if needed, but also cleanse it energetically. You can rinse it under cool running water if the material allows. Pass it through cleansing incense smoke, like sage or frankincense. Bury it in a bowl of sea salt overnight, or simply visualize it being bathed in brilliant white light, purifying it completely. Charging enchantment. This is the key step. You need to imbue it with your protective intention. Hold the item. Close your eyes. Visualize a stream of pure light or strong protective energy flowing from your heart down your arms, through your hands, and pouring into the item. As you do this, mentally or verbally state your intention clearly and firmly. For example, this obsidian is charged with powerful, impenetrable protective energy. It deflects all negativity, repels all harm, and shields me from any intrusive influences. You can make this a mini meditation or a simple ritual to really intensify the charge. Placement wearing. Once charged, place protective symbols strategically, maybe near doorways, windows, and the corners of a room where you feel vulnerable. Wear protective amulets or crystals on your person, keeping them close to your energy field, a necklace, a bracelet, tucked in a pocket. The closer it is, the more directly it interacts with your aura. Recharging. Remember to regularly cleanse and recharge your items to keep them working effectively. How often depends on your environment and how much negativity you feel it's dealing with, but maybe weekly or monthly is a good rule of thumb. You'll likely feel when it needs a boost.
Beyond the immediate, ongoing practice and ethical wisdom.
This feels like a really comprehensive system, covering everything from daily mental habits to active rituals and physical tools. But what about the bigger picture, the ethics involved? If we're consciously working with these subtle realms and energies, surely there's a kind of code of conduct or universal laws that apply.
Oh, absolutely. That's incredibly important in Fortune's framework. She places significant emphasis on the concept of karma, the universal law that essentially negative actions inevitably lead to negative consequences. Understanding these underlying universal laws isn't just about living a more harmonious life. It's crucial for avoiding inadvertently creating situations that make you vulnerable to psychic issues in the first place.
So ethical conduct is part of self-defense.
It's paramount. Fortune famously stated that right motives and right associates are absolutely necessary for safety and effectiveness in any kind of occult or spiritual work. And remember her strong stance against retaliation.
Yeah, the don't respond attack by attack principle.
Exactly. Her reasoning wasn't just moral, it was practical. She argued that retaliating brings you down to the attacker's level, energetically and morally, and is ultimately less effective and far more dangerous to handle than using humane methods based on defense, purification, and strengthening yourself rather than attacking back. This ethical stance is critical. It promotes responsibility, wisdom, and ultimately a safer way to interact with these energies. It's about maintaining your own energetic integrity and spiritual principles, even under pressure. And this ties into the idea that psychic self-defense isn't a one-time fix. It's not like taking a pill when you feel sick.
It's ongoing.
It's an ongoing, integral practice of what she called spiritual hygiene. This covers regularly cleansing your personal space, cleansing your aura, and consistently maintaining that mental and emotional balance through all the practices we've been discussing.
Like energetic maintenance.
Exactly. Just like physical hygiene prevents illness and keeps your body healthy, consistent psychic hygiene maintains your energetic vitality and resilience. It significantly reduces your vulnerability to both deliberate attacks and those unconscious energetic drains we talked about. It really has to become a fundamental way of life, a continuous commitment to your own energetic well-being.
We've touched on this a few times, but it feels really central, so maybe we can emphasize it again. The connection between our inner world, our psychology, and our psychic vulnerability. How much of this defense is truly about addressing our own internal landscape, rather than just building external walls?
It is profoundly important. You could argue it's the most important aspect of true, deep psychic self-defense. Fortune's unique background, bridging occultism and psychology, allowed her to see this overlap with incredible clarity. Her work consistently acknowledges this deep, undeniable link.
Those energetic holes again.
Exactly. She recognized that our psychological patterns, our unresolved emotional states, deep fears, old traumas, chronic anxiety, even just low self-esteem can create these vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
These weak points in our aura make us susceptible to psychic influence, whether it's conscious or unconscious.
And this idea is still relevant today.
Absolutely. It's powerfully reinforced in contemporary discussions within spiritual communities.
Yeah.
You often hear practitioners say that shadow work or therapy is best for self-protection. The argument is that a lot of what feels like needing protection magic is actually about addressing our own internal fears and projections rather than purely external threats.
So sometimes what feels like an attack might be internal.
It's possible. Some suggest that what might be perceived as astral parasites, for example, could sometimes be misinterpretations of one's own astral projection experiences, or maybe internal energetic imbalances or emotional blockages manifesting in a way that feels external. This highlights again how critical it is to distinguish between genuine external psychic attacks and internal psychological or energetic imbalances, because they can feel remarkably similar.
Which brings us back to the need for careful diagnosis.
Precisely. And this leads to a crucial final directive, something Fortune stressed and that's widely echoed today. Always seek professional medical or psychological help first if you're experiencing symptoms that could genuinely indicate a physical or mental health condition. Things like persistent auditory or visual hallucinations, severe depression, debilitating anxiety, unexplainable physical ailments that doctors can't diagnose. Get those checked out by professionals.
Because psychic defense doesn't replace conventional care.
It complements and enhances it. It does not replace it. It's about a comprehensive, holistic approach to your total well-being. Body, mind, emotions, energy, spirit. All parts need care. Conclusion outro.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today, really diving deep into Dion Fortune's incredible work on psychic self-defense. We've seen how psychic influence can be dual conscious malice, but also unconscious emanations.
And how Fortune uniquely blended occultism with psychology, showing that a strong, integrated psyche is maybe our most potent shield.
Yeah, and we explored the power of proactive psychic hygiene, the absolute need for that holistic diagnosis, figuring out if it's external or internal, and the profound importance of ethical discernment when navigating these subtle realms.
And we really understood how the astral body is seen as the key target, emphasizing how all these practices, aura strengthening, grounding, even the LBRP, are designed to fortify that specific subtle layer and maintain your energetic sovereignty.
Okay, so just to quickly recap the key actionable recommendations we've discussed for mastering your psychic self-defense.
Prioritize those daily energetic practices. Aura strengthening visualizations, grounding exercises make them consistent.
Right. And cultivate mental and emotional resilience through journaling, affirmations, meditation, healthy emotional processing.
Learn and regularly perform foundational rituals if you feel called to, like the LBRP, or simpler cleansing practices for that consistent energetic hygiene. Check the link resources for full instructions on things like that.
Use protective symbols and amulets, select, cleanse, charge, and use items that resonate with you as personal energetic anchors.
And crucially, address your psychological vulnerabilities. Practice self-awareness, and don't hesitate to seek professional therapy or counseling if needed for unresolved issues.
Maintain discernment and ethical conduct approach perceived psychic stuff with a critical mind, avoid retaliation, use humane methods.
And the big one, always seek professional medical or psychological help first for symptoms that could indicate a physical or mental health condition. Psychic defense complements, it doesn't replace conventional care. It's about being whole.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. Beyond just defense, consider this. If our thoughts and emotions truly have such a powerful impact on the subtle, energetic realms around us, if our internal state really does shape our external energetic experience, what untapped potential do we all hold? Not just to shield ourselves, but maybe to consciously cultivate environments of peace, resilience, and positive influence for ourselves and for everyone around us. Something to think about. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Deep Seek Diaries. Please don't forget to check out the linked resources in the description section. Hit the subscribe and like buttons as you head off if you haven't already. Until the next episode, goodbye.